Welcome to Rocket League Knockout. This is going to be a general introduction to the game. So the game is an 8-player game and it's a last man standing, or sitting as the case might be, as we're in cars, but who knows. So there are 3 arenas to this game. We have the Calavera, which I'm on just now. We also have Quadron and Carbon, which are another 2 arenas which we'll see a bit later on. So the basic premise is there are 3 mechanics we can use in this game. So you have attack, you have block, and you have pickup. Your attack, as it sounds, you hit the opponent basically and they go flying. You have block, which blocks the attack and sends the opponent who attacks you flying, and you have pickup, where you pick the opponent up and you're going to try and fling them somewhere. Each of these mechanics can be blocked by one of the others. So, when it comes to the attack, that counters the pickup. The block obviously counters an attack, and the pickup counters the block. So, rock, paper, scissors. If you're doing the same attack against each other, then it cancels out essentially. So if you're attacking each other, you both bounce away from each other. And the same if you're trying to do a pickup on each other. Block, you just kind of go past one another and nothing really happens. Now when you're attacked or you're picked up, you will be stunned for a short period of time. Now this can be reduced in the case of the PC version by pressing Shift key, which will reduce the amount of time you're stunned for and allow you to get control of your car. If you don't do that, then in the case of a pickup, you're probably going to be flung either outside the arena down onto the ground, usually, or people are going to fling you randomly and you go flying somewhere, which does not a lot actually. Your best bet is actually throwing them either into, in this particular arena, the spike pits, or the spikes at the side of the arena, or you just take them off the edge as I demonstrate here and just fling them into the ground like that. So, getting out that stun is pretty critical actually, so it's one of the key skills that you need to learn. Regards the camera views, with this variation, the camera either goes to an individual player and tracks them, which is okay, it can be used sometimes, or as you see here, I'm just playing with the general sort of camera. I tend not to use the individual cameras. The only time it's really useful is when you're actually trying to target somebody to pick them up, if they're flying back in and you're trying to get a flying shot, or if, for example, you're 1v1 and you're just trying to outmaneuver your opponent. It can be quite handy at that point in time, but other than that, no, I wouldn't really recommend it. It can get pretty disorienting at times actually. So now let's look at these a bit more specifically and get into more of the details. So here we have the attack with the keys shown on screen. And here we have the block. And finally here we have a demonstration of the pickup. And to actually throw them, you're just going to do similarly again. You'll do your attack and then choose a direction that you're going to fling them in. Now with regard to that particular thing, then it takes a bit of skill to kind of learn where to fling them and how to fling them. Now it will take a bit of practice. It took me a wee while to get this. But one of the things that you'll find is once you can actually throw somebody quite well, then you can basically throw them into the spikes, or you can throw them into the ground, and there's various sort of ways you can do it. And finally here we have images of the 3 arenas. So this is the Quadron arena, which I'm just flying and hovering over just to show you. And then we go back to the Calavera, which is this one here. Again, you can see generally the whole arena. A bit more complicated, this one. And then finally we move on to the Carbon arena, where I'm just been knocked out flying, so you can get a reasonable view of it. It's basically a circle, so not quite circular. Other than that, it's a good description. So that's all for this episode, and next time I'll show you some more specific areas, for example how to get off walls, what kind of attacks you're looking to perfect, especially when it comes to the throws, and the variations on when to use different attacks. For example, if you're being attacked by somebody who's constantly attacking you, then block. Simple as that. But with any of these games, you have to really vary what you're doing. So if you make sure that you're being aware of what your opponents are doing, then that'll help. Oh, and just one other point, just when I see it on the screen. The arrows are how far away your opponents are from you. The bigger the arrow, the closer the opponent. So it's a good way of gauging who's around you and that's all for this video, and I shall see you next time.